Sakura Azusagawa is so ugly, he makes Solomon Grundy look edible, and he might not have the looks, but at least he has eyes because he is the only one who seems to be able to see a girl in a bunny costume, and as soon as she realizes this ugly idiot can see her, his life takes a twist in the ugliest direction, kind of like my eggplant first thing in the morning. Sakura Azusagawa, a charming young man in the library browsing through books, suddenly noticed that a girl in a bunny costume had walked past him. He was so focused on the book in his hands that it took him about 5 seconds before he realized that a strangely dressed but yet eye-appealing young lady just passed by him. She moved gracefully around the library, but it seemed he was the only one who could see her. After all, who wouldn't stare at someone dressed like that? My eyes would be locked onto the target like Call of Duty aim assist. He is intrigued by her presence, just like I am, and her striking image resembling Zatanna, the lover of Constantine. After loitering around, she came and stood next to him like a nature-sent blessing. The fact that he could see her didn't faze her one bit. "Are you Sakurajima?" he asked. She confirmed, introducing herself as Sakurajima Mai, a name that resonated from her days as a celebrity. She warned him to forget what he had seen and to stay away from her. With that, she walked away. The next morning, he questioned how one could possibly forget such an encounter. At home, his little sister, who often sneaked into his bed, woke him up. "Guys, are we sure this girl isn't his stepsister because things are getting a little awkward right now?" He not so jokingly scolded her, "You're too old for this," brushing off any improper thoughts with the wonderful sentence stating how low a person would be to be aroused by his own blood sister, who specifically is still in her first few teen years. On the way to school, like the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon states, once something has been brought to your attention, you begin to see it everywhere. Most times it's always been there, but your mind does not pick it up. But now that you've noticed it, it begins to glare at your face everywhere. He asked his friend Kunami about Sakurajima. Kunami acknowledged her celebrity status, but hinted she was out of her league. Later during lunch, Kunami's girlfriend confronted him, warning him not to associate with her boyfriend and stating that he was a social outcast. Instead of ignoring her, he teased her playfully, which in turn pissed her off more. After school, he intervened when a guy tried to take a picture of Sakurajima. Please note that the name is long, Sakura for shorts. Surprisingly, she thanked him. On their train ride home, Sakurajima brought up rumors about his alleged fight with 3 guys, curious about his reputation. She revealed her experience with puberty syndrome, where she found herself invisible and unheard during a solo outing. How do you feel invincible on a solo date? Sakuta explained the syndrome and showed her his unexplained claw mark. Back home, Sakuta introduced Mai to his sister Katie and suggested she return to showbiz to alleviate her syndrome. Offended, Mai stormed off, skipping school the next day. Meanwhile, a news anchor pressed Sakuta for details on Mai's break, which he refused to divulge. Seeking answers, Sakuta consulted Futaba about the concept of invisibility. Misunderstanding at first, Futaba eventually suggested that someone could effectively be erased from existence if left unnoticed. Realizing Mai might be starving due to her condition, he rushed home to find her waiting. Hungry and nearly invisible to everyone, he offered her his cream bun. Mai and Sakuta went shopping together for groceries, a mundane task that felt strangely intimate to Sakuta, even though no one else could see Mai or anything she held. Feeling bold, he asked her to hold his hand, admitting he'd never held hands with a girl before. She grabbed his arm, and as they walked, Sakuta's mind wandered into wild, inappropriate fantasies about her. To his surprise, Mai brushed it off casually, tightening her grip on his arm. On their way home, Sakuta cautiously brought up the topic of Mai's break from acting. She explained that 3 years ago, she had refused to pose in a swimsuit for a photo shoot despite her manager and mother agreeing to the contract. Sakuta earned himself a sweet face dusting after dropping an inappropriate line. She recounted how tough that decision was for her as a middle school girl, forced to fake a smile during the shoot while her mother prioritized money over her well-being. Curious about who leaked her break to Sakuta, Mai pressured him until he reluctantly revealed it was the news anchor interested in the puberty syndrome, showing Mai his scar as proof. Mai immediately realized the potential media storm this could cause and called the anchor to negotiate, offering an exclusive interview in exchange for withholding the photo. Sakuta apologized for inadvertently pushing her back into showbiz, but Mai assured him it was her choice. Arriving at the front of Mai's apartment building, Sakuta was stunned to realize they lived across the street from each other. Mai invited Sakuta to meet her at the train station on Sunday, insisting it wasn't a date. On the appointed day, Sakuta prepared nervously, even choosing his best boxers just in case. On the way to the station, he spotted a little girl crying in the park, lost and looking for her mom. Before he could help, a girl accused him of being a and kicked him hard. After clarifying his intent, they reconciled, but an officer mistook the situation and detained them, delaying Sakuta further. Hurrying to the station, he found Mai waiting, despite her earlier declaration. They boarded a train to the beach, where Sakuta opened up about his empathy for Mai's loneliness. At the beach, Mai's mom unexpectedly appeared. Mai planned to inform her of her return to showbiz, but her mother walked right past her as if she didn't exist, greeting Sakuta instead. Shocked and hurt, Mai realized her own mother couldn't see her. Sakuta confronted her mother on Mai's behalf, but she denied having a daughter, triggering Mai's distress. Trying to console her, Sakuta's frustration erupted, but Mai stopped him, allowing her mother to leave. As they wandered the beach, Sakuta asked strangers if they knew Mai, but she had seemingly been erased from everyone's memory. Disheartened, Mai prepared to leave, but Sakuta refused to abandon her and suggested they travel to another city to see if anyone remembered her. Reluctantly, Mai agreed, and they boarded a train to Ogaki. During the journey, Mai asked Sakuta if he remembered her, to which he emphatically responded, grasping her hand without waiting for permission. They arrived at Ogaki Station, where Sakuta asked an attendant if he knew Mai, the actress, but received no recognition. Finding lodging for the night, Mai took a shower while Sakuta called Kunimi for information. Kunimi remembered Mai and provided Futaba's contact information. Sakuta called Futaba, asking for help with the puberty syndrome mystery, regretting the missed opportunity to think more about Mai while she bathed. Sakuta and Mai later went shopping for new underwear. They shared a bed that night, promising each other comfort before falling asleep. He had watched her sleep quietly for a while before she finally opened her eyes. She asked if he had stayed awake all night, to which he admitted he had, while she slept like a princess. After getting ready, they began their journey back. Arriving at school, the situation remained unchanged. No one could see Mai. She went to check her class, leaving Sakuta to confront Futaba, who delivered some bad news. Everyone else had forgotten Mai. Futaba referenced the cat-in-a-box theory, previously finding it absurd, but now feeling a chill down her spine as she witnessed it firsthand. She explained the theory that observing or acknowledging Mai was crucial to remembering her, a revelation that shook Sakuta. After school, Mai insisted Sakuta go to work and not worry about her, heading home alone. At work, Sakuta was thinking about Mai's problem, realizing her lack of observation was destabilizing her existence. Determined to stay awake through his midterms, Sakuta resorted to energy drinks and pills, but the spirit of sleep beat down his will and snatched Sakuta. Futaba, having already forgotten Mai due to sleep, confirmed the theory. Mai took Sakuta home to help him study. He jokingly asked her to wear her bunny costume, but she refused. No way would he focus if his tutor wore that. Mai promised a reward for a perfect score, which briefly energized Sakuta. However, exhaustion eventually overwhelmed him, and despite his efforts to stay awake, Mai slipped a sleeping pill into his drink, ensuring they both rested. The next morning, his sister woke him in time for his final midterms. During the test, Futaba handed him a letter she had found written by him to help remember Mai, yet her name was mysteriously blurred out, much like the journal entries in his room. Memories flooded back during the test, triggered by questions Mai had coached him on the previous night. Sakuta dashed out of the exam room because he was overwhelmed. He declared his love for Mai to the entire school from the middle of the field, embracing the craziness of love. Mai appeared behind him, teasing him to declare his love for her again in a month. Amidst all the drama, they were summoned by a staff member. Back at school, everyone's going about Japan's football win, and Kunimi can't help but admire Sakuta's hairstyle. During lunch, Sakuta and Mai share a meal she prepared. If he is the only one that can see her, she's basically still not materialized. How did she cook? Would it be like when a ghost picks up a spoon, but all you can see is the spoon levitating? He finally pours out his heart, telling her he loves her. But her response? After a month of hearing it, she feels meh. Damn, talk about a blow to the heart. To add salt to the wound, she drops news of a movie role with a kissing scene, sending Sakuta's mind racing, but it turns out it's not for her, but still, That's an emotional whiplash. Sakuta gathered his courage and asked Mai out. She shyly agrees, and you know that feeling he's over the moon. The next day he's all dressed up for their date, but deja vu hits hard. It feels like Groundhog Day. Same news, same lectures, same everything, and no one else seems to notice. It's like he's stuck in a time loop like the map of tiny little things. Seeking answers, Sakuta turns to Futaba, who spins a theory about time loops. She mentions the Laplace demon, Koga, someone acting out of sync with the loop. Turns out he finds her hiding under a desk. Yep, the same girl he accidentally kicked in the park. They realize they're both trapped in this bizarre time warp, same way the guy from the map of tiny little things recognized the girl who's out of place. But things take a comedic turn when they get caught under the desk by a guy Koga's hiding from. And just when Sakuta hopes for a repeat day, the loop breaks, no time machine needed, though he did consider asking Futaba to build one. Meanwhile, Mai skips school, so Sakuta heads to Futaba's lab, where things get personal. Futaba spills her feelings for Kunimi, but wants to keep it on the low. At work, Sakuta's boss introduces Koga as their new recruit. Rumors fly about Sakuta and Koga possibly dating, thanks to some nosy co-workers and their under-the-desk expedition. After work, Koga pleads with Sakuta to pretend they're an item until the end of term, but he's not having it. She persists, even asking him out for a real date, but Sakuta's still undecided. Back at home, pondering how to explain all this to Mai, she surprises him with a visit. Sakuta kneels down, pouring his heart out to Mai about the whole Koga situation, and luckily she gets where he's coming from. She hands him a dress for Kaidi, so he hurries home to have his sister try it on. It looks adorable on Kaida, who thanks Mai for the gift. Escorting Mai outside, she drops a bomb about hoping their fake relationship with Koga doesn't turn real. Sakuta reassures her she's the only one for him. On their date, Sakuta and Koga hit the aquarium, the apparent first date of Kazuya and Chizuru from Rental Girlfriend, snapping pics like they're in a slice-of-life anime montage. They marvel at the sea critters, and Koga opens up about how much she's changed since middle school. As they're about to leave, they spot a classmate in distress on the beach searching for a lost phone strap. Sakuta and Koga leap into action, locating it just in time, but Koga ends up taking an unexpected dip. Next day, Sakuta finds Koga in the clinic with a cold bearing tangerines as a remedy. He questions why she didn't skip school, and she confesses she fears losing her friends, the teenage lust of fitting in. Sakuta's all cool about it though. He couldn't care less if the whole school gossips. The day after, Koga returns the favor with canned peaches, and Sakuta jokes about savoring them, cheekily noting her generous proportions. At work, Koga quizzes Sakuta about Mai, but he plays it cool. No juicy gossip yet. Late at night, Mai calls Sakuta's home line to check in, and they converse about their day. Something your lonely self cannot relate. Meanwhile, in Futaba's lab, Kunimi catches her off guard, and the tension is crazy. He's sniffing around for Sakuta, suspecting he's with Koga. Suddenly, he barges in, then retreats upon seeing them together. Futaba scrambles to keep them apart to hide her true feelings. While at work, Sakuta spills to Kunimi about his run-in with Koga's admirer and his girlfriend's jealousy. Kunimi teases him about the rumors swirling around Koga, hinting she's an easy catch. On his way home that night, Sakuta bumps into Futaba, and they share a heartfelt chat. The next day at school, he finds Koga looking gloomy and alone. When her stalker resurfaces to mock her, Sakuta steps in and drama flared. A swift kick to the bully's pride, revealing he's a virgin, sends shockwaves down his spine, almost sending him to the afterlife. Sakuta and Koga flee the scene, finding peace by the riverside. They bond over their shared struggles, and Koga admits she's also inexperienced. Sakuta assures her they should stay friends, even after their fake dating charade. Mai is helping Sakuta study for his exam, but he seems to be distracted, so she asked if he has thought about his future, and as the lover boy he is, he said he wants to spend his days with her. She says she has thought of the college she wants to go to, and he said he'd love to go there with her, but doesn't think he's got the brains for it. She asked if tutoring him in her bunny costume would help, and obviously, without her even landing, I would have said yes. He said yes. After school, Sakuta goes to the mall with Koga to get swimwear because she's going to the beach with her friends. She asks if he'll be going to the beach with Mai, but he said it might not be possible because she's famous. She said she's going to help him get back with Mai, but he reminded her that she's the reason they're not together. While they were having a drink, she said that she's already thought of a way to dump him, saying she'll start a fight with him because he can't get over Mai and then slap him before walking away. I've been part of this charade. The backlash is always crazy. Katie wakes her brother up in the morning and they have breakfast before he leaves for school. The students attend the last assembly before the summer break, and afterwards Sakuta and Koga head to the beach for their last date. They have grilled corn, snow cones played in the water, and built sand castles. At the end of the day, Koga asks for a breakup handshake instead of slapping him. The next morning, Katie woke her brother up, but he tells her it's summer break. She says summer break starts the next day, so he abruptly gets up and looks at the date only to realize he's stuck in a loop again.
Here we go again.
He goes to meet Koga and asks if she's in the loop, but she isn't. So he goes to meet Futaba, who tells him that Koga's either lying to him or doesn't know what's going on. He meets up with Koga and they relive the previous day for the second, third, and fourth, but this time they went somewhere else. After their date, he tells her that he knows she's lying about the loop, and no matter how many times they repeat that day, Mai is still the one he loves. She tries not to believe him, but later accepts her faith. She cried and finally confessed her feelings. The following day, Sakuta watched the news and realized they're back to the time before the whole pretend relationship started. He lived a simulation of the future, and that's just crazy. He eats lunch with Mai and asks her to go out with him, which she agrees to in a shy way. He asks how she feels about him, but she doesn't have an answer to that, so she distracts him by making him look outside. She then kisses him on his cheek. She asks if he understands now, and as shocked as he is, he still says he would have prepared it in his lips. This guy is crazy in love. On his way downstairs, he sees Koga turning down the guy that asked her out because she likes someone else who doesn't even have a phone. After her conversation with the guy, she met Sakuta, who told her that no matter what happens, he'll still be her friend. Everything went on normally like it already did. Sakuta goes to Futaba and asks why he was the only one dragged into the loop. Quantum entanglement reminds me of Jada Pinkett's entanglement. It all happened because they kicked each other a while back. On the way home with Mai in the rain, they see a little girl holding an umbrella over a kitten in a box. Sakuta decided to take it home for proper care. Sakuta wakes up to find his little sister snuggled up beside him as usual. After washing up, he remembers meeting a girl named Makinohara Shuko last night, coincidentally the same name as his first love from 2 years ago. The girl dropped by to check on the cat, but can't take it home without her parents' approval. Sakuta kindly invites her to visit any time. At the library, Sakuta spills the beans to Futaba, who's looking surprisingly extra today. He recounts the encounter and she's chill about it. Over at work, Koga struts in looking sharp, and Sakuta, ever the gentleman and admirer of fine curves, pays her a compliment that makes her blush. After work, Mai swings by to hang out, curious about the girl resembling Sakuta's first love. They spot Futaba entering a cafe and chase after her, only to find her without a phone. A game of chase began until Sakuta catches her. Futaba drops a bombshell. There's apparently 2 of her, and she's clueless about it. They decide to crash at Sakuta's place for the night, where Kaidi warmly welcomes them with her cats. Mai heads home for a bath, while Sakuta promises a bath to Futaba, strictly platonic of course. While she bathes, they discuss quantum teleportation theories and doppelgangers, just another casual night. Well, this anime feels partially scientific and partially spiritual. First, it was that Mai could only be seen by Sakuta, then Koga jumping and leaping time. Now Futaba has a doppelganger. Later, Mai joins Sakuta on the couch for a Naruto standard first weapon. Emotional talk about Futaba's situation. Sakuta tries to lean in for a kiss but ends up bumping heads. Ouch! Mai reassures him there'll be another chance, leaving Sakuta to nurse his ego. The next morning, they all enjoy breakfast together until Shuko drops by for a surprise visit. At school, Sakuta spots Futaba's doppelganger in the gym, watching Kunami play basketball. After the game, Sakuta quizzes her on what drew her to Kunami. Turns out he shared his precious chocolate buns with her during tough times. They clue in the doppelganger, Futaba's alter ego, about the situation, brainstorming theories over lunch. Sakuta catches up with Kunimi, chatting about Futaba's occasional gym visits. Kunimi dashes off for training, leaving Sakuta to ponder the mystery. He calls Mai for an update, but she's got news. Futaba's secret online account has been posting some spicy pics. Sakuta got home and met Futaba preparing dinner in a lab coat. When Futaba went to have a bath, Sakuta sat outside the door of the shower to start a conversation with her. He told her about the fake account, and she said she created it but didn't know what to post. She says her body developed when she was still very young, which made boys drool over her, and she hated it. Gradually, she started hating her body. The account was created a while back because she just wanted attention. He asked her what she wanted to do about her posting the pictures, and she says she wants her to stop, so he gets up and tells her that he'll go talk to her doppelganger tomorrow. He went to the living room to meet Mai, and she told him that her agency doesn't want them to go on dates again. After explaining the whole thing, They came up with a nice idea for themselves. The next day, Sakuta met the doppelganger at the station and talked to her about all the things she should stop doing, like posting selfies. He asked her why she's posting those pictures, and she said it's a form of because she hates herself. She tells him to give up on one of them because the world isn't big enough for both. The doppelganger gets messages from a guy wanting to meet up, but she gets really scared and tells Sakuta to delete the account. Afterwards, he walked her home. She tells him to spend the night at his place and threatens to tell his girlfriend if he does anything. Before bed, she explains that she's always been alone and started feeling company when he and Kunimi became her friends. Speaking of Kunimi, Sakuta wanted to prove how much he cares about her, so he used her phone to call Kunimi and told him to hurry up and meet them because Futaba is in trouble. Kunimi rode a bicycle and got there as fast as he could. Futaba starts to cry because she's happy that she's no longer alone. Sakuta got them drinks to rehydrate and also firecrackers so they could have fun with them on the beach. At the end of it all, they realized it's already dawn and they spent all night together. They saw Kunimi off to a point and he rode his bicycle back home. Futaba's doppelganger told Sakuta to go check on the other Futaba and give her phone to him. Sakuta got home, handed her phone to Futaba, and immediately went to sleep, promising to give her the details later. By the time he woke up, she was gone. He rode his bicycle in the rain and finally found her at their school. She said she's going to leave town because there's no place for her there. She starts to cry and asks why they took a photo she would have killed to be in. Sakuta ignored her and gave her a place to be and a particular time. Then Mr. Niskai collapsed. He woke up in the hospital with Mai beside him. He goes to thank Futaba for bringing him to the hospital. They talk for a while, and she asks if she can follow them to see the fireworks, but he tells her to pick up the phone and ask the right person, which she did, and all of a sudden she disappeared, confirming that the two Futabas have merged. On the proposed day, they all went to see the fireworks, and she told Kunimi how she felt, and also told him to make up with his girlfriend. Summer breaks over, and Sakuta is disappointed that he hasn't yet seen Mai. On the way home, he saw Mai around the corner, but that wasn't really her. She came out looking different, and he knew it was really his girlfriend when she stepped on him. He asked why she looks different, and she said it's puberty syndrome. The person she swapped bodies with is her half-sister, Nodoka, who came to stay at her place. They tried to figure out their schedule, and Mai told him to come pick up Nodoka for school the following day. The next day, Mai and Nodoka explain their school lives to each other and prepare to replace each other. When they got to school, Sakuta showed Nodoka Mai's class since she's technically now Mai. He went to explain the situation to Futaba, and of course she had something to say about it. After school, Sakuta took Nodoka to play in the water for a while. They sit in the sand for a while, and Sakuta asks why she hasn't told Mai how she actually feels. He said he knows Mai might be the cause of the issue happening between her parents, and told her to pour out her mind. When Mai came to them while sitting on a park bench, Nokota summoned the courage and poured out how she felt, saying she hates Mai for trying to steal her spotlight, and Mai says she hates her too, but it's their father's fault. He took Mai home, and when Kaidi saw her, she thought her brother had become a pimp named Slickback. For the next couple days, Mai and Nokota lived each other's lives as scheduled. Once again, Sakuta asked Shuko if she truly doesn't have an older sister. At work, Mai visited to eat something before her next job and also to see her boyfriend's face. On the way home, he saw Nodoka on set acting at Mai's pace, but before they finished one take, she started hyperventilating and passed out. He met Mai on the way and told her what happened. The next day in school, he told Kunimi that he wanted to know what it's like to have a perfect big sister, so he called his girlfriend over. Sakuta asked if she loves or hates her sister, but she doesn't know. She just hates the fact that her parents are always using her big sister as an example for her. When he was going home, he met Mai, who gave him the key to her apartment so he could check up on Nodoka. He went to her place and talked to Nodoka for a while, telling her to be more natural on set. Sakuta got back home late, and before she went to bed, she asked him everything he did back at her place. Sakuta and Nodoka sat in the living room watching horror movies when Nodoka got startled, so he turned it off and told her to prepare for her reshoot tomorrow before heading home. When he got home, Katie asked for his opinion of her back in her uniform, but he didn't give a befitting reply, so Mai came and gave her a very nice compliment and also some pudding. She gave him 2 tickets to a concert, one for him and Nodoka. After Nodoka's acting scene, they are sitting together on a staircase when a call comes in for Sakuta. It's Mai, and she tells him that his dad called and wants to meet up. He handed the concert ticket to Nodoka, and at first she was reluctant but still collected it. They walk home together and Nodoka asks about his parents. He just says they live separately. Nodoka's mother frantically walks up to them because she thinks it's Mai she's seeing. She asked her to give Nodoka back, but Nodoka convinced her that she didn't know where she was. Sakuta and his dad meet up for a drink and discuss it, trying to catch up on each other's lives. Later that night, Sakuta and Nodoka attend the concert Mai's performing with a troupe at. They enjoyed the performance, and at the end of it, they chose Mai Nodoka as the next vocal lead. Before leaving, they see Nodoka's mom praising Mai for a wonderful performance, and Nodoka gets really jealous. Instead of going home, they go to the beach. As soon as they get there, Nodoka runs further into the water, trying to drown herself, but Sakuta quickly pulls her back. She cries that no one cares about her, so he took her back home and showed her all the letters that she sent to Mai, which she kept because she loves her. Mai walked in and told her that no matter how busy and tired she was, she always took time out to read letters from her little sister. Nodoka still cried, saying that Mai is better at everything than her. Mai slapped Sakuta because Nodoka was a big baby. She cried, saying that she has always wanted praise from her mother too, and Mai hugs her, telling her that she can be herself. All of a sudden, they switch bodies back and everyone's happy. Sakuta narrates everything that happened to Futaba, and I'm sure you already know that this girl had a reasonable theory for it. Mai faces a barrage of cameras and journalists promoting her latest movie and discreetly hinting at her relationship with Sakuta while politely asking for privacy. After school, Mai and Sakuta stroll home together, exchanging heartfelt declarations of love along the way. At home, Sakuta finds a letter from Shuko, his first love, asking to meet at the beach tomorrow. He turns to Futaba for advice, who mysteriously deflects with a text to Mai before fluttering off. Mai coolly allows Sakuta to meet Shuko but sets a dinner deadline, 6 p.m. sharp. The next day, on their way to the beach, they bump into Kotomi, Kaide's old friend. Mai graciously volunteers to take Sakuta's place at the beach rendezvous. Over coffee, Kotomi confides her regrets about not standing up for Kaide during school bullying and asks to visit. Sakuta hesitates to agree. At the beach, Sakuta waits for Shuko but offers to escort Mai to the station before leaving a heartfelt message in the sand for Shuko's arrival. Back home, Kaide excitedly shows Sakuta her goal list, including her ambitions to attend school. The phone rings and it's Shuko, denying the letter but explaining her absence due to illness. Post-dinner, Katie's eager to practice answering the phone with Mai but collapses with a fever, revealing a mysterious bruise. At work the next day, Sakuta's visibly distracted, noticed by Koga, who shows care by asking but got a vague answer in return. Returning home, he finds Katie chatting happily with Mai on the phone, thanking her for her care. Katie proudly shows Sakuta her plan to venture outside. The following day, Mai surprises Kaidi with cute outfits to boost her confidence. Sakuta returns from school to find Kaidi ready to conquer her fear of the outdoors, clutching his hand nervously. Step by step, they venture outside, and Kaidi breaks into tears of joy upon succeeding. Their outings become more frequent. At the beach, Kaidi delights in building sandcastles. After retrieving a runaway ball, she encounters Kotomi, who greets her with fear, realizing Katie has lost her memories. Sakuta gently breaks the news to Kaidi, who struggles to remember her old friend. Sakuta explained to Mai how Kaide lost parts of her memory due to the trauma she experienced in school, and because of that, his mother also developed a mental illness. He woke up with blood all over one morning and a scar on his chest. The doctors thought he was harming himself, but he wasn't. He snuck out of the hospital and met his first love, the only person who listened to him. She believed him when he talked about puberty syndrome. He got a journal for Katie because the doctor suggested that she write down what she sees and feels every day. Their parents moved out and left Kaidi in Sakuta's care. He wants the old Kaidi back, but wonders what's gonna happen to the current Cade. He apologized for not telling Mai sooner, and she said it's okay, even though she wishes he had told him sooner. The next morning, Kaida complained that her body hurts, but Sakuta told her that her muscles are probably just sore from all the walking and playing she has been doing outside. He sees that the bruise on her neck has gotten bigger, although she doesn't have a fever. At school, Mai told Sakuta that she has a shoot in another city, so she'll be leaving for a while. Back home, Kaidi got dressed and says she wants to go out again even though her body's still sore. He told her to relax and gave her pudding. She asks if her former self knew the girl they saw at the beach, and Sakuta says he can tell her who she is if she wants. He handed her a book that the girl borrowed from Keita long ago. When she opened the book, she said the girl's name and collapsed. He rushed her to the hospital, and the doctor said that when she wakes up, she might regain some part of her memory. They ran some tests on her, and Sakuta is worried that if she regains her memory, the current Kaede might be lost. On their way back home, Kaede says she wants to go back to school, so Sakuta discusses it with his dad. Sakuta and Nodoka see Mai off to her cab, and Nodoka asks if he's scared. He says he is, but can't show it. Kaede's school counselor visited to talk to Kaede about returning to school. She told her that she could take it step by step, and even visiting the infirmary counts as going to school for her. The next day, she prepared herself and Sakuta walked her down to school, but they stopped halfway and opted to try again the following day. The next day, she ran because she wanted to go but froze and started crying when she saw other schoolgirls. Sakuta promised to help her get to school gradually. He took her to the zoo, and she was so excited to see the pandas and other animals. As they headed back home, he took her to the school instead to get a peek at what it's like, and she got excited to go to school the next day. The next morning, Sakuta goes to wake her and realizes that she has no memory of what happened the past day or even longer. Sakuta took Kaede to the hospital, and the doctor said she couldn't remember what happened during the amnesic period. Knowing this made her dad cry. Sakuta ran out of the hospital looking like a cartoon character with noodle arms. I love this kind of animation, it's always fun, especially the animation expression of shock. Sakuta cried in the rain, and as he cried, he saw bloodstains from the scar on his chest, and Shuko, his first love, came to comfort him. She took him home and made him go have a bath. He's sad because he couldn't do anything for Kaede, but Shuko told him that he did all he could. She stood by the bathroom door and read what Kaede wrote in her diary for him to hear. In her diary, she wrote about her journey through amnesia and how her brother was always there for her. She wrote about when Sakuta got a girlfriend and when his friend Futaba stayed with them, basically everything that had happened since the amnesia started until the very moment she regained her memory. She also wrote about how her brother would feel when she regained her memory and made a list of things to do with him. Sakuta tried as hard as he could not to cry, but he just couldn't hold it in. The next morning, he woke up really hungry. He called Mai, explained all that happened, and said he'd have to introduce her to Kaede again. Sakuta went to see Kaede in the hospital and told him to go with him to see pandas, but she told him to get a girlfriend instead. Imagine your sister dissing you for being single. Sakuta once again went to explain everything to Futaba. Mai came back home to see him. She told him to go get dressed so they'd go out, and when he did, she saw a note on the table. Sakuta came to explain that Shuko showed up and comforted him when he was a mess, and he found the note the next morning. Seeing the note broke her heart and made her feel insecure. She ran out of the house with tears in her eyes. Sakuta was visibly sad, and it was even noticed at work. At night, he met Nodoka and told her what occurred with Mai. He hopped on the next train to the city where she was and ran as fast as he could to get to Mai. On their way to the hotel, he wished her a happy birthday. They went to a spot to hang out for a while, and when she was cold, they cuddled in his jacket as he apologized to her. She told him to close his eyes, and in his dirty mind, he thought she was going to kiss him, but she just pulled on his cheeks. Kaede, on the other hand, finally found the courage to meet her friend and return to school.